Hi, Ankita.
Hi.
So just pause the record.
We can read it.
I'm starting the recording. Everyone who can switch on their videos, it will be great because we'd love to see your lovely faces and interact with you and not talk to the gray boxes. Okay, so here I start and I welcome both Dipti and Ankita to this amazing talk and all of you also for joining us today. So the thought behind this conversation was, of course, to have conversations around these topics which affect us every single day, not only on Women's Day, navigating our careers and navigating motherhood, navigating family. So that's an important topic we are here to talk about. Brief introduction about myself. My name is Ritu Saraswat. I'm a mindset coach and inner child healing expert. And in the last 10 years, I have been working with hundreds of women, helping them navigate their life, going from victimhood to empowered mode. And I'm on a mission to spread the awareness about growth mindset to at least 1 lakh women by 2028. And yeah, so that is a bit about me. I'll invite Ankita to introduce herself and then Deepti, please.
Thanks, Ritu. Thank you so much. And first of all, happy International Women's Day in advance to everyone. And thank you so much for joining us today for this session. Really close to our hearts, what we want to talk. And we were talking about it that we'll talk through our heart, all of our stories. To introduce myself professionally, I'm an HR professional with over 14 years of experience in the industry across healthcare, e-commerce, finance, supply chain, etc. I currently lead the HR function for Bastion Solutions. It's a Toyota Group company. Personally, I'm blissfully married to my best friend Ashutosh, and we are blessed with two baby boys, Shivai, who's 5 years old, and Rudraksh, who's 8 weeks old. I'm a new mom again, and I am on my mat break, but very excited to be here today. So thanks, Ritu, for welcoming us here. Over to you, Deepti.
Deepti.
Thanks, Ankita. Lovely introductions, both of you. So, again, happy International Women's Day in advance. It's tomorrow, but we would like to consider this whole week as Women's Day. So, I'm Dipti Devarakonda, and I have 17 years of experience into IT and into analytics. Currently, I'm working as Senior Director of Analytics, working and leading the global analytics team in Evolent, which is an IT healthcare company. Uh, Apart from my work, I like to help a lot of women, help them grow in their careers. That's how I started my own talk show, which is called as She Thrives, which is held every other week. I call a lot of women achievers into that talk where they, share about their accomplishment and inspire us. So that's a little bit about me, what I do outside of the work. Um, Talking about my family, I have a husband and a 13-year-old daughter. And I like dancing whenever I get some free time. That's pretty much my hobbies, and especially my most of the time goes in a lot of mentoring sessions. Also, I conduct a lot of sessions in my organizations regarding work-life balance and anything related to help women overcome difficult situations and grow in their careers. So that's all about me, and I'm very excited to have this chat with two lovely ladies here and all other lovely ladies who are listening to us. So I'm really looking forward to this session today. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Deepti. Thank you, Ankita. So let's dive right into it with the most common question and the question which we all wonder about. Is work-life balance a myth? Is there really a balance ever? Deepti, I would like to hear your take on this first.
Sure. Work-life balance is a myth if we consider work and life to be opposites. For me, work is part of life, and that's how I see work integrated into life rather than two opposites. And I love my work too, as the other parts of my life. So what I consider is work-life balance is not balance all the time. Like you can't have all the things at one time, but you can definitely achieve all the things at different times. So that is what I call is balance when needed. right? So that is what I work and strive for, and how I achieve this, right? If I think about it, what I do to achieve this, I can share a few of the experience what I do day to day in my life. Basically, I manage my energy and time. So we all human beings have limited energy, and as a woman, we have almost, like, very limited energy, which I think that we need to be consuming very mindfully. Now, what I do for that, I usually follow 80-20%, a Pareto. I'm not sure how many of you work in IT, so you must be knowing, focusing on 20% of the items to get 80% things done. So what are those 20% I focus on, and what I do about those 80%, right? So basically, for that 80%, I automate, delegate, delete, and do what is remaining, which is important for me. So what is automation, and what is, I use this word so much because being into analytics and all, but yeah, it's not that technical. But automation is something which I try to do in day-to-day life. Uh, I would say automation and online, making it online. Now, what I mean by that, so there are few things in life, what you do daily, you can make it automatic, like paying your bills or automating your reminders. Now, Ritu was telling just before this that she cannot remind birthdays and she forgets. So basically, what I do is that I don't give so much pressure to my brain. I just put it everything into my reminder. So whenever that day comes, it get pop-up, like automatic pop-up that, okay, there's a birthday today. And there is something like, tuitions. Basically, I have so many activities my kid performs. So everything has been planned and automated in terms of my alarm clocks and reminders. So even if I'm in call, I will get those reminders pop up. Then I go to my kid and say, okay, your tuition is at 5 o'clock. You need to start getting ready. So these are the things which I try to automate and make my brain space, free my brain space, right? Uh, Again, making it online. So whatever online shopping, grocery shopping, everything is automated weekly. All the things come. Few things it is like, okay, I don't go to the shopping mall. Sometimes I go when I really like to enjoy in person, taking, buying certain clothes, but usually it is online. So all these things is something which I try to automate and make it online. Then comes the delegate part. So most of them, I sometimes think I'm very good at delegation, because it's like, at work, we are good at delegating to our teams, but we don't see that delegation same in our personal life. But I try to delegate most of my work through using house help, for cooking, for cleaning, for taking tuitions for certain subjects which my kid may be struggling with studying. So I don't want to put that time in teaching her certain subjects, but I would like somebody to help her with that, so that I can utilize my time with the kid in talking and spending, good time with her. So those are the delegation daily. We need to start thinking of delegating few items. Then comes deleting. So you can delete certain items, like, certain things like, which are unnecessary calls from call centers, or some relatives may call you and then just they would just gossip about certain things, then certain reels which you don't need to see. So all these things is something which you can delete. And what is the rest, where you need to be in present, right? You need to be present for that. You need to do those things, right? So the more precise and small your list is, you will be able to manage your energy. And that's how I try to do. There are other energies also, physical, mental, and emotional energy, which we need to take care of. I'll not touch base many, but mindset is one thing. Definitely positive talk, self-talk is what I do for the mental energy. But a lot of women go through, many women may not understand that emotional energy is quite draining. And if you get caught up into emotions, you may lose out on time and energy both. So how, and I cannot talk many on the other outward experts, but one of the things we all need to know is the hormones, right? And the period energy, I'll talk a lot on period energy. Sometimes, some days are very productive because of our hormones, and some days it's very not so productive. So, we need to understand which days we feel low, and having those rest days, having good productive days, it's like up and down, right? Life is always up and down. So, understanding all these energies and managing these energies, I think, has helped me, and maybe it will help others also. And in the time, I would only speak on two things on time. One is I do a lot of planning. I think all ladies are very good at planning and organizing their everything. So I do too. I schedule everything, but in the work front, we are very good in scheduling meetings, calls, and all. But when it comes to personal life, we don't schedule things. But I've lately learned that scheduling your time with friends, family, and other things also, and especially for your self care, self grooming, will give you a good balance in not just your work, but your outside work as well. And same is saying no. No is something which people mostly forget to say. And especially women are raised in such a way that saying no could be very difficult. But setting boundaries is what I have diligently do in time management. I don't take calls after 10 p.m., but how you communicate effectively with all of the stakeholders about your boundaries is very important. I have seen managers being very supportive. They would be like, okay, if they schedule something at 8, 9 around, they would ask me, okay, is that something okay for you, or is it too late? So they become considerate if you set boundaries and communicate them effectively. So I have been practicing that a lot. I don't work much on the Friday evenings also. So people know that. And uh, it is not seen as a bad thing. Moreover, which I've seen as a response as well. So knowing your boundaries and setting or scheduling your time also helps. So Ritu, just I think long answer, but that's how I manage my time and energy for the work-life balance I try to strive for.
Great. So very, very, very important points, very practical tips. So please make a note of that. This is a key takeaway, that how we can manage. And like Deepti rightly said, work and life are two not so different things. I mean, we are not working in silos. We are human beings. We are doing our work, but we are constantly also getting affected by our own emotional, upheavals and up and downs. So when you're going to work, and if you're not having a healthy, stable emotional state in your personal life, it can affect your work, and vice versa. If your personal life can get affected if there is a lot going on in your work life. So you have to be mindful of that. You have to be very aware of that, and you have to live intentionally. So you have to choose intentionally what are the things which give you energy and what are the things which drain your energy. And at any given point of time, things which are giving you energy should be more than things that drain your energy. So that is something, keep it simple, but that is something on a daily basis you have to evaluate, especially when you are in a situation, let's say at home, there is a situation, maybe with some relative where you are drained of your energy. So in that moment, you have to immediately switch to some activity, even if it is just 5 minutes walk or just listening to music for 10 minutes. That will bring your energy back before you jump into any other activity which further drains you. So don't wait for your energy levels to dip to minus zero, -1 or zero below that. Because एक बार it goes even in the minus, then to bring it up is much more difficult. Like if your mobile conks off, it's completely dead. Then to come back and even to 10% charge is difficult. But if it is around 40% and you put it on charge, immediately it can go up to 100%. So similarly, we have to be aware of our energy level. So don't wait for it to go haywire. Take a call that if I'm feeling drained, now what should I do now to bring up my energy? And that kind of awareness, if you practice every day, that is what is mindful living. And yeah, life can become easier with that. Ankita, would like to hear from you too, because you are
Yeah.
also, a master manager of time and work-life balance.
Oh, so you think, but there is a lot of struggle behind the scenes,
I
Ritu,
am
and
sure.
you do know about that as well. Very quickly, I know we will lose time much, but very quickly, I want to add on that I firmly believe in having a work life integration rather than doing any of the balancing act. So it is like how I'm going to balance in between my work life and my personal life and all of that. Integrating all of that is what my focus is. It's never going to be that I'm going to live one life of just being there at home or just being there at work, but it's all about integration. There are instances which happen to all of us where we are in office and we suddenly get a message from our kids school that this has happened and you need to pick up your kid now. And we have to balance then things in a way at work and at home, maybe find out how we can prioritize what. I think ruthless prioritization is one of my tips that I'd like to give away. That helps me a lot in doing this integration work. I know what to be prioritized when. No, at least I try to.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. You have to prioritize. So coming to the next burning question, and this is for you, Ankita, that do you constantly feel a pressure to choose between your career and your family?
Oh, well, yes, of course. The immediate response is yes, of course. There are always choices to make. Like I said, you are in an office, you get a call from kids' school, you have to pick the kid from school, or you're leaving for work and your kid tells you, Mama, I need you at home today. Meri chutti hai, I want you to be here with me. And it's then when you have to really take those calls and make that little kid understand how it is important for you to be at work, and how it's not an obligation, but how as an individual you like working. I do that. I personally talk to my son about how I love working and how it is important for me. It is not just that I want to be going out, but I love working is what is my narrative to him. And he's, over the years I've seen him, he's 5 years old now. He started to understand that quite early on. And there are days when he melts down, but then there are days when he completely supports and tells me, okay, Mama, you go, I'll manage everything. Those are smaller instances which happen, but there are, I feel, there are bigger things also, choices that you have to make. I'll talk about one of them being last year when I conceived my second child. And it was the exact time when my US visa got approved. And this definitely was a big opportunity for me professionally. But there were a lot of thoughts running in my head and in around me, in my family, in, amongst my like people who know me, my friends, that which were utterly confusing. Do I want to do this or not? Is it the right thing to do or not? You sort of start doubting yourself, and that's what was happening with me also. But I'll tell you what helped me at that time. Firstly, I discussed it with my coach, uh, you, and did that inner work to clarify what I really wanted and needed in that moment. And that gave me a lot of clarity, that I knew this was something I want to do. And my body is completely supporting my mind, spiritually, emotionally. I want to do this. As much as I want to have a baby, I do want to do this professional trip of mine as well, which was a very key milestone for me personally. So I decided that I'm going to do this in that moment, after that session. And once I did that, it things sort of started aligning, and everything started falling in place for me. I had my conversations with my partner, my husband, that I want to do this, and he was completely supportive. He started talking about how we can make things work, with my son being there, my health and all of that. I had my conversation with my manager that this is the situation, but I still want to go ahead and do this trip. And she was completely supportive, which I initially kept assuming that she's going to react the other way, or I'm not going to get the kind of response I am thinking I will, or things like those. But then she was very positive about it. And then secondly, one thing that we refrain a lot from doing as women is asking for help. I asked for help. I asked for help big time. I live with my in-laws, and I told them that I need you and I want you to be supportive of this. And they were completely supportive. My 5 year old was very, very supportive. I asked him if he's okay with it. He had his apprehensions. He asked me how many days and all of that. But then he also became supportive, which was a big worry for me as well. So, all in all, if you start, once you have that clarity and you be honest, you tell people around you, your support system, that this is what is your thought and what you want to do. Don't be afraid of asking for help. I think things start aligning, and it will happen the way you want it to happen. But you need to have that clarity that you want to make this happen. Everyone's not as lucky as me for having a village around to help personally, but then that will also happen if you start aligning your thoughts with what you really want. So that's my take on it.
That is such a beautiful and such an inspiring story, Ankita. Thank you for sharing it. And yes, last year when she was on that journey and I was right there with her, I was also inspired because we discussed, but she went ahead and made it happen. And that is where we also spoke that we have to share this story with others because a lot of time we don't even ask. When we started discussing, her first this thing was that why do I have to choose? Why do I have to choose? Because I love my family and I love this phase of my life, being pregnant, but I also love my job. So why should I choose? And that's how we got discussing that we don't have to choose. And why don't we look at it in this way? And we need to have more such conversations because most of the time, even in my work, working with professional women, women in leadership roles, I have seen we already in our minds dismiss the thought even before we can go ahead and declare to the world what we want. In our own heads, our first reaction is, no, I think it's not right. Or we go into some kind of guilt. And there and then we kill the idea. We don't even give other people the opportunity to help. Most of the time, if you ask for help, you will get help. Most of the time, when you are clear what you want, things do fall in place. But we only stop it by first not believing that A, we deserve it, B, even if it is right or not. So we have to do it for the right reason. Or sometimes we can go to the other extreme of feeling that we have to fight against the world. Even that is not a balanced way of looking at it. So we have to be realistic that, okay, first I have to understand, do I really want it? B, there has to be, especially when it comes to pregnancy, you have to be also practical in terms of whether your health is allowing that. So yes, that is important. You have to take advice from your doctor that whether that thing, is beneficial for you. And you have to do it for the right reason. You have to do it because you really want to do it, not because you want to show to someone or you want to make a point. Even that is not a right way, because then definitely you will, also face some challenges. But like Ankita said, she really wanted to do that from the, joy of her heart. And so she went ahead and she asked for support from her family, from her colleagues, and that is what she got. And that is what her lived experience is. However, there are many people who might not be having a similar experience. So the one thing they have to keep in mind is go back in and try to understand where are your negative beliefs, because that is number one reason why you will block what you're wanting to achieve in life. Yeah, so that's my take on it. Dipti, I would like also you to add uh, your perspective on this. You are on mute, Dipti.
Yeah, very inspiring story by Ankita. So I do also face, I think every woman in this room would feel that pressure every time. And mostly, I think something called as FOMO also happens. Like, something is in outside world, we are missing out and we are sacrificing our life for work. So this always comes up, and especially for me, it comes up when with my extended family, my parents and friends, where I'm in calls, and at that point of time, my parents do visit me, and then I wanted to spend time, but I'm in calls. But what has helped me over the period of time is scheduling later time with them, so that my satisfaction levels are met later, right? Like, okay, I schedule dates with my parents, sometimes separately, also sometimes together as well. So making that satisfaction level, okay, I'm not missing, because I'm a person, I want everything in my life. I can't compromise things too much, but I'm okay to compromise at those times when I need to give full attention to one thing in my life, right? Whether it could be family or whether it could be work. But we cannot have it all at the same time, but I know that we can have it in different times. So scheduling afterwards and making yourself satisfaction is how I balance it out, or how I change. And I would say that decision making skill is also every woman needs to adopt. We are all dependent mostly on our life decisions with our partners, or in family head. When we were kids also, our fathers used to take, and then after marriage our husbands also used to take. But we shouldn't be like, we should start taking small small decisions in day to day life, and also of your life, and you are taking big decisions also in your life, right? And you're owning up to whatever consequences may be. It could be a good consequence, it could be bad. You're owning up and you're learning from bad situations and doing that. So I think decision making skill is definitely needed for every woman in this situation.
True, very true. And rightly said, that decision making and taking the onus of your own life. See, that
Yeah,
is very important. That is something which a lot of women lack, even when they are very much educated, they are very much financially independent, but still somewhere, because
yeah.
of the social conditioning, you can say, or because of the way we have seen our mothers also sometimes, they think that they do not have the right to make decisions on their own, and they have to depend on other people, or they have to take permission. But if we want a healthy relationship, both parties have to be equally, respecting each other's decision, and they should have equal autonomy to take the decisions and then help each other out. So, and also sometimes I feel not always all men want to take control. Sometimes by default they are given control, which is also sometimes sad, even if they are not ready or willing to take decision on behalf of everyone in the family. Somehow the responsibility does fall on them. Sometimes, yes, sometimes there are some people who want to take control, but in both cases, as women, we have to understand that you are equal partner, whether it's your work or it's your professional life. You are equal partner, and so you have both the right and the duty to take decisions, to be the leader and to lead, and not always wait for someone else to lead and put ball in someone else's court all the time. So
And sometimes they also feel pressure,
yeah,
our
yeah,
partners feel pressure of
yes,
taking their own decision and our
yes,
own decision. So
yes.
it's might as well give them a break on
True,
uh,
true.
taking.
Actually, yeah, because I personally feel patriarchy, even men suffer from patriarchy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They take so much of pressure.
Yeah, by default, it is assumed that they have to decide and they have to be ensure that every decision has a right outcome, which is not fair, you know. So sometimes we should be also taking our decisions, and we should be okay even if the outcome is not as per us. Sometimes if it happens, something happens which maybe we call it failure, but I don't call anything a failure. But maybe it is whatever you assume would happen, something else happened. You can be fine with that because you took the decision. Take the responsibility and say, okay, I learned from this, and move on, rather than just dumping it on someone else. All right. So coming to the next question, which is also somewhere aligned with this question we were having about choosing between career and family. Dipti, I want to know from you, have you ever felt mom guilt, or is it real even?
Of course, it is real, and everyone would agree in this room. Mom guilt is everyone, like any time or any moment in your life, you would always keep on feeling. But let's try to understand how this stems from, like where this guilt is coming from. So, one thing I noticed that a lot of cultural, societal conditioning has been done in terms of like how gender roles, specifically how women should behave, and what is woman needs to do, how she needs to take care of entire house, all the family members and work. So these kind of things have always been conditioned And that is one of the main reason to have guilt. We need to all understand this, okay? And second, what I feel, there are two major reasons of what, like, also why we have these guilts, right? One is the guilt mindset, right? It's a mindset thing, moreover. And it's definitely coming from the conditioning, but guilt mindset. And if it continues, then it is definitely one of the reason is guilt mindset. And second reason, I feel superwoman syndrome. I'll talk about that. But guilt mindset is something where you would always like, there is conditioning from outside, but this is something from inward, like you yourself blame yourself. So how I deal with that, right? One thing is mindset shift. Specifically, how we can think of same, like how we do the self-talk is very important in changing or shifting the guilt mindset to a growth mindset. So how I do is, I was very self-critical before, but then later I did a very positive self-talk to me. I was very kind and compassionate towards myself. That changed my mindset from guilt mindset to growth mindset. I'll give few examples, right? How would a guilt mindset say? I don't ask for help at home because I want to do it all. How would a growth mindset think? Asking for help is a sign of strength and it allows me to share responsibilities and reduce stress. There are more few examples I can call out. I am overwhelmed with work deadlines and can't attend every school event. That is a guilt mindset. How would a growth mindset think? I will prioritize attending important school events and communicate with teachers to stay engaged. I'm afraid to ask for flexible work arrangements. That is a guilt statement. I should prioritize my needs and explore flexible options that benefit both work and personal life. Some of the mom guilt statements, I'm constantly comparing myself to other moms and feeling like I'm not measuring up. These are common guilt. So, how we can think? I recognize that every family is unique and I focus on my own journey and progress rather than comparing myself to others. So, I feel guilty for taking time for myself. I should be focusing on my family needs instead. This is a guilt statement. How we can think? I understand the importance of self care, of well being, which benefits my family too. So I think thinking in a growth mindset is one of the solutions for addressing your guilt mindset. And second, I'll talk about superwoman syndrome. I'll just give an exact statement of what is superwoman syndrome, which we all have. So, superwoman syndrome refers to a phenomenon where a woman strives to achieve perfection in all spheres of her life and ends up feeling overwhelmed and highly stressed. This is a definition. So, what is the antidote for being a superwoman? I think Ankita already covered is asking for help. We need to be open to ask for help. And like Ankita also mentioned, it takes a whole village to raise a child. And that was a old ancestral way of raising the child, that woman's role was giving birth and she used to go to the fields, do all of the work. She was not only just taking care of her babies, but again, then we entered into other generation. We were staying in a joint families where our grandparents or our parents used to take care of our kids. Now we have come to an era where we are into a nuclear setup, right? But then superwoman still continues, but asking for help and like a village, creating your own village. If you don't have a village, create your own village. You will have few house help who will help you in the cooking. They are indirectly helping your child raise. Taking help from a tuition teacher to address the difficult subject your child is having problem with is indirectly raising your child. You delegating certain tasks for others is also indirectly helping your family. So asking for help, taking help, communicating effectively that you would be engaged in certain things and will not be available, and also making friends with them because they are helping your child raise, making friends, having good relation because this is your village. So I think this will reduce mom guilt to a large extent and has helped me. So I just think that these are the things which will help address mom guilt what we face.
Yeah. That's very good points. Yes, compassion really helps, and asking for help definitely is a superpower. In fact, I say accepting help and expecting help, both are important. A lot of time we don't expect that there will be help, and a lot of time we don't accept it because somewhere we feel that we have to do everything, we have to prove, especially if you are a career woman who is very ambitious. Somewhere you feel guilty and you try to overcompensate at home because you almost feel you are not supposed to feel ambitious about your career, or you're not supposed to be passionate about your career. There's something wrong, and so you
Mm.
overcompensate by doing extra at home. And just imagine, like, you are tired from work, you are exhausted, you don't want to cook, but you feel this whole guilt, and then you make something, and then that it doesn't turn out to be very tasty, and the kid says, I don't like the food. What happens? You blast, I have been doing so much for you. Now you have made it about someone else. So understanding this can actually save your entire family. Also, this belief that as a mother, your life has to revolve around your kids is wrong. It is not healthy for you and for your kids. They also need to see you as an individual who also has their own life. That is how they learn that as a person, it is your priority first to take care of yourself, then only you can help others. And the kids also grow to be independent, emotionally independent human beings when they see their mothers taking care of themselves emotionally, physically, and mentally. If they see mothers who are constantly exhausted, overdoing, not taking rest, they learn that this is how life is supposed to be difficult. But when they see their mothers are chilled out, they find time to relax, they are able to say no, they are able to have boundaries. That is what they learn. Ankita would like more points from you on this.
I think you guys have covered it all, and totally in sync with what I try and do. I just want to highlight what I do most is open communication with my son. I openly tell him about how it is important. I've already spoken about it, and how how it's good for him and for me. We have those conversations, and I prepare him in advance for the things that may or may not happen, and set his expectations. So if I can go to his annual function, I tell him. If I cannot, I tell him that as well, because he now that I've had my second child, it's a very tricky situation where I was always the one who was dropping him off for school. Now he thinks that I'll still do it, and I'm not able to physically. I'm not able to do it right now. uh, I've had conversations about it with him, and he understands. He tells me it's okay, mom. I can manage it now. But will you do it when you're okay? And I say, yeah, I'll do it then. So having those open conversations, don't think they are just small little babies. They'll not understand. They understand it all. So I think half my mom guilt gets cut when I'm able to do that conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, that's true. When you communicate and everyone feels good and you're honest about it, that's the best to combat the guilt. Awesome. So next question, which is also very relevant here, we were talking more about the personal aspect of it. Now, looking at the professional part of the whole, situation, there is something called motherhood penalty, which is right now it's a term being used, and maybe it was always there, but now people are becoming aware of it. That when you become a mom, you face certain challenges in office, particularly because you are going to become a mom. So, Ankita, I would like to hear from you. What has been your experience of motherhood penalty?
I've had two of them in my career of 14 years.
Wow.
Uh, when I first conceived, it was a different organization at that time, and it was a different, kind of environment. It was very supportive environment. Everyone told me, wow, what a great news, congratulations, all that. It was one of my career peaks at that time, and I had switched to a new role, and was like and I was always one of the top performers, being appreciated for my work and all of that. And I went off on my mat break very happily, thinking that it's a great place to be, and I'm at the right place, and I'm when I come back, things are going to be as good as they are right now. To my surprise and shock as well, it wasn't like that. The world had changed, the expectations had changed, the people who were earlier very supportive, appreciative, had changed their narrative about me. Suddenly, it was about how I will probably be dividing my time, how I'll need more flexibility, things like that, and without even having those conversations with me, asking me if I need it or not, what is my requirement, or have I said it really? No, I had not said it, but those were assumed things about me. Obviously, I needed flexibility, but was it, what sort of flexibility did I need? What sort? So that triggered change in mindset of the people around, the teams around, and they started, not having me in those projects which I was very keen on doing. But they had a particular mindset. We need someone who's more invested. I had to hear phrases like, you need to reestablish yourself in the organization, where where you worked so hard in the previous years, and you've always been a top performer, very appreciated, all of that, and suddenly you hear that for yourself is I would say definitely a penalty for taking a 6 month or 7 month break. uh, it's a huge milestone. You're already kind of changed internally. A lot has changed mentally as well, and then you hear that at work front is a huge penalty, I would say, that as females we have to pay. If you see the other gender who comes back from paternity leaves, is only asked for sweets, uh, and that's about it. The life moves on, goes on. But it's not the same story for at least females, that I feel. And that's not what my experience at least has been. What changed in my second time when I conceived was that I had recognized all of these triggers early on, right in my first experience, and I started working on a lot of these, understanding how these things get triggered in people around me, and how can I I can't change someone's nature and how people react to it, but what I can definitely do is how I react to those reactions. So I was very clear with that, with the kind of work that I want to do, and the way I want to um, be in my career, in my career progression. I've had those very, very clear conversations with my leaders, and it's not like it's nowhere like I'm taking a break, so I will pay a penalty. Not this time, at least. Last time I had to, my promotion took a 3 year halt because of that pregnancy. This time I was very clear of having those conversations very early on with my leaders and people around, that how is it that I want this to show up or trend up once this happens. So I think what helps also is, again, work life integration more than anything else. For me, that has worked a charm. I am, and I'm very blessed with a very wonderful team at work as well. So we are still connected. It's not like that I'm on a break, so I'm not going to talk to them or things like that. We are very well connected. We work on things still where needed as I can, as much as I can. But it's all about how you want to prioritize at this moment in time. We all pay that penalty. I want to call out one small thing here, Ritu. What happens is a lot of us don't realize that we are paying that penalty,
Yeah.
and that is very surprising. The percentage of women who don't realize that they are actually paying a penalty is very high. You don't realize that okay, I will not take a promotion this year because I am pregnant. You let go of that, that whole thing. I am on a mat break, so I am probably not eligible for that project anymore or that progression anymore. I let it go. Yeah, I'm pregnant now, so I don't. So
Yeah.
that mindset
Hmm.
has to change, and we need to realize that we have to get over it, and understand that it's a beautiful phase of life, and it does not have to make you feel, you don't have to regret it at any point. You should not. So you need to work on yourself and your surroundings to ensure that it doesn't.
That is a very, very nice story of which you've shared your personal experience, and also the way you could make that connect from your first experience to the second one, and especially when you went out and discussed with your leaders. I think that was important, and you were able to do that because you did not believe that you need to give a penalty. And like rightly said, if we ourselves are okay with giving the penalty, or we feel that just because we are pregnant that we don't deserve to grow, or whatever we have done in the last 1 year suddenly becomes null and void, and all the progress that you have made now holds no meaning because you are pregnant, so that is
Yep.
when you are encouraging the penalty. So the right way, like Ankita said, is first in your own mind have the right mindset that I have done all this work and this is what I deserve. And then go speak with the people concerned how you can contribute. Because, yes, there is going to be an assumption from other people because we are still, becoming more aware of these things. So there might be other men, or even there might be other women leaders who might have
Yeah.
different views about what you can or you can't do. So rather than letting them create a story in their head about you go and let them know कि this is what I'm capable of doing, and all these ways I can still work if that is how you wished it to be. But in your
Yeah.
head, don't dismiss yourself. In your own mind, do not give yourself the penalty even before others give it to you. Yeah. Dipti?
Sorry, I just want to say that, Ritu, the whole point about deserving is very important.
Yeah.
We ourselves say that we don't deserve it. Maybe we don't deserve it,
Yeah.
but we have to make that mindset shift, which CP was talking about, that we deserve it. We are as much deserving as the men who are in the race with us. So we should not forget that.
Exactly. And that is what comes from growth mindset. We'll talk more
Yeah.
about that, but Dipti, I would like to hear your views on this as well.
Yeah, I think penalty, yes, definitely. But I would say for me, the story was a bit different. So I have been always at least I have just one child, and during that point of time, I thought that I'd got immense support from the leaders and the team. And when I came back and I got a new role and I was trusted to take up new role, and I got promotion too. So my growth was really good. And when I came back, and my energy was too high because I was very happy with my kid, and that hormones were like just kicking off, and I was more productive like never before, and the growth graph just went like a rocket than before. So for me, it is definitely, but I've seen one of the things which, like Ankita mentioned, that we might not be aware of we are facing penalty, and one of the things then what I see noticed is some trade-off happens between the like with the flexibility thing and your growth.
Hmm.
Either you get flexibility or you get growth.
Hmm.
Sometimes it happens, and I've seen that, and with me also, as it has happened. And like Ankita said, that okay, we are not even aware, we are like, okay, considering so privileged that we are getting that much flexibility which men don't get, and we are getting because we are giving birth to a baby.
Yeah.
So that happens, and I think that needs to be addressed, like beautifully Ankita said, that we need to communicate well in advance what are our intentions in terms of our career, We need to be very upfront that what we are aiming at and how we feel about the total pregnancy and the childbirth, and and how we would like to take the career ahead. Having these communications way ahead while you are pregnant itself, and making your managers, leaders, who, if they are male especially, making them comfortable about your career would be a very good thing to do, so that you don't pay penalty later. And then, because there will be a lot of assumptions, and I don't blame others also, because of course they are thinking good for us also sometimes, that okay, they might need rest, they might they don't want to pick up some huge heavy lifting work, because they might need some flexibility or rest, right? But we can communicate what our intentions are firstly,
Yeah.
and then health problems if there are, then we will definitely tell at that point of time. But at least communicating our intentions, that we want to come back and we want to have a career just like any other, and would
Yeah.
like to give. And also what I believe is we need to also commit and believe in ourselves, and also offer support from our side. It's not always taking, it's
Yeah.
all, it's also giving. For
Yeah.
what we can bring to the table is also, they need to see that. So I think it works both sides. Educating and all these definitely help. But yeah, penalties definitely, every time, someday, some other time we face it. But if there are ways to overcome.
Mitigate. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And definitely, like both Ankita and Dipti said, that starting with your own mindset, you have to, first in your mind, you have to know whether you are already dismissing yourself. And if you're not, then communicate honestly whatever is true for you. See, everyone, like Dipti's experience has been that she was feeling very energetic. That might not be everyone's experience. So you have to take a call whether you are up for a bigger thing or you are not, and whatever the truth is for you, you can communicate that without feeling the pressure or the guilt. I think these were the questions we had. I will be opening up the group for Q&A, but before that, I will be sharing with you the link to the ebook, which you all can download for free. I'll just put it in the chat, and I will also be putting it on the WhatsApp group. So here is the link. It's a free download. You can download it from my website. It is an ebook on growth mindset, the secret of unstoppable women. And this is also going to help you understand how you can develop growth mindset and what blocks growth mindset, so that you can also use these things in your day to day life, whether it is personal or professional. Now, I would like to invite all of you who are present here. If you have any questions you want to address to any of us or all of us, please go ahead. And guys, questions, please hit us up. You're getting this opportunity of three people who can share their experiences and much more. Yes, Aditi.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah,
Just a sec. Yeah, actually, I was logged in from laptop and phone both.
okay.